And welcome back to the Survivor PA Season 4 recap. I'm Coach Drew. This is Julia. And we just get right into this. I think that both the players and us kind of thought that a swap might be happening, and we didn't get it here. What did you think of the episode overall before we get into everything else?
I can't say I didn't see it coming. I have my thoughts, especially post-challenge scrambling, but it felt like I was watching a group of third graders go back and forth. They know you did it. No, you. No, you.
Um, Yeah, and we'll get to that. But I would say that overall, I enjoyed it once again. I forgot to point this out last week, but I enjoy the extra touch of the Heroes Villains theme song for the intro to this season of Survivor PA. So we kind of start off with the fallout from the Amy vote, and once again, it's just like there's been this pre-merge storyline of Peter and Tyler. And at some point, it's all going to come to a head. And spoilers, it definitely comes to a head in this episode. But for the most part, the rest of the tribe seems very cohesively. Yes, they all have different ideas about how they should move as a group. But I think at the end of the day, they all feel like, hey, we can trust us. And we know that these two are going after each other and we know what they're doing. And as long as we understand that, we can put ourselves into a good spot. It doesn't really matter if we keep on losing. What do you think of this tribe dynamic 3 episodes in, not talking about what happens at the end?
Absolutely. Once you have such public conflict between two people that has been marinating now for over 24 hours, or just about, it becomes easier for the rest of the group to come together. It's kind of a bonding point, and it makes it easier for everyone else to go, "They're crazy. What about us?" And I think that's definitely been apparent through the strategic conversations, last episode and now here, where we have our set group of decision makers, and they have been the people, for the most part, have removed themselves as best as possible from this conflict.
Yep. And Tyler's such a great narrator. He kind of just lays it out there. It's like, yeah, Peter's scheming. And it's like, yes, you're right. And we as an audience know that, but it's great to hear people keep reiterating that so that we're not putting this on Peter. Like we as an audience know that now there are other people out there that see what's going on. Uh, and I feel like the first 2 boots have almost been like collateral damage for these two. And like I said, I feel like we've been waiting for it to come to a head. I didn't think it would come to a head this early because I thought they would win a challenge before, it inevitably happened. But we get to a part where both tribes have to send 3 people, and I thought immediately, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where the swap's going to happen. They're going to do it like Africa.
I did as well, Africa style.
And it's not what happened. We get to the challenges. So what? I mean, maybe I missed it. What were the other 2 people there for?
So, what I have gathered, and they did the same thing last episode, is it just gives more options when it comes to who you're choosing to go to the god's altar. Because you just send one-on-one for a hero challenge, you have a very binary choice. I'm sending myself if I win, or I'm sending you. Now, I feel like there's opportunity for a little bit more conflict. Well, why did they send me? Or why didn't they send me when I was begging for it? Just gives more choices, and I always like that.
Yeah, and I think that what's potentially going to happen is next episode or whatever, they could do that again, and then they end up like I'm still on the
Yes,
boat of that's how a swap
I
will
agree.
happen. And we could be way off, but I just got that vibe, and I think because we had hyped it up so much last week that it was going to be a swap this week, that when it didn't happen, it's like, oh, okay, it's just another hero challenge. So Ben, if I'm inevitably has to go away, is chosen to go away.
Yes.
after
Before we get
Liz
to that,
after Liz beats Jordan in the Survivor China challenge.
I loved this challenge and I loved the immunity challenge, the setup for both of them. This episode was wonderful. The set pieces so far and everything they've used, the puzzles has been amazing. I've been very impressed.
Yeah, yeah. The amount of, and I mean, we've talked about it, I think, the first 2 weeks, and we can continue. The amount of time and effort that's been put into not only this game, like out there, but production wise, it has been amazing. And I'm excited to see how it progresses throughout the season. If they try to throw in little things to like say, hey, yeah, we really are on our shit with this. So yeah, this is not the type of challenge that you see happen in LRGs often,
No.
whether it's budgetary or whatever. So that's great that they were able to pull that off. And like I said, it ended up being Liz beats Jordan, and Ben goes off. Ben? Am I making that up? No, I'm not making it up. So what did you think of decisions that were happening there?
Yes, I think honestly, great choice from Liz, especially last episode. We see Emily go to the God's altar and then have to stay back from tribal, especially if your tribe hasn't gone yet and you feel in an okay spot. A situation like that, you're not being in on that first vote conversation, can definitely be scary. And I think it's a good way to build trust with somebody else, especially if someone else really wants to.
You want to tell people what you texted me at the beginning of the episode about Emily?
What did I text you?
That she better not go home.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was terrified she was going to go home at the beginning of the episode when we got the Jordan J. Mac conversation, but we can talk about that once we get through the God's altar.
So what happens there?
Yeah, so Ben goes, he gets his 3 choices like usual. This week we had sacrifice, chaos, and fate, and he ends up choosing sacrifice. Not what I would have chosen. I think people had been avoiding it thus far. New era Survivor, we have a lot of beware advantages, a lot of people losing votes left and right, especially prevalent in this Survivor season. But he ends up picking sacrifice, and he is given the option to potentially lose his vote and have an advantage be publicly announced to his tribe is hidden somewhere at camp. He can either choose to give up his vote and have that go out into the tribe or do nothing. What do you think about the choice he ended up making?
It is hard. And he talks about it. It's like, yeah, if I do this, I think what was best for TV. What was best for TV is the decision he chose.
Yes.
In game, I feel like it depends on the player, depends on how they're trying to navigate it. I think based off of hindsight now, I think he made the better decision because it ultimately didn't really cost him. And I like the way they twisted that advantage.
The twist was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I think he not only made the correct decision on what to do in hindsight, but also how he played the entire situation was perfect.
Yeah.
By going back and announcing it like that, like, hey, I did this. I thought it would give something to the tribe potentially. Now I don't have my vote. Let's go look for the advantage. Once it's found, it makes it so much easier for whoever finds it. Goes, look, we haven't been to tribal yet. Mm-hmm. I feel semi-good with this person. Let me build that connection even more. And I feel like if someone else but Ethan found it, we probably would have had a similar outcome as well.
Yeah, I mean, so the way that the twist works, or anyone that hasn't watched the episode yet, basically you lose your vote, but the advantage is an extra vote, and it just happens to be the person who lost their vote. So Ethan finds it. Him and Ben get together. It's like, hey, can I just get my vote back? And away we go with a potential, I would say, probable duo moving forward, because that builds a lot of trust. I love the way that, like, this is, I mean, shit, real Survivor should do this. Like, oh yeah,
agreed.
This is such a perfect twist to the loss of a vote. twist. I mean, I've ranted about this on other things. At a certain point, people have to get over the fact that New Age Survivor or you can lose your vote at any instant, and instead focus on how you can change it to make it better, because it's always going to happen now. And this is a great way of changing that twist so that people still lose it, but there's a way for you to get it back through means of finding something at camp or having someone else that can find it. And I think that this could them up well long term, but it also doesn't look like that tribe's going to lose anytime soon.
Nope.
So who's to say? What would you have done in that situation though, if you're Ethan?
If I'm Ethan, I think I tell him, and if he asks for it, I think I give him the vote. Especially, like we said, you haven't gone to tribal. I think these people have to assume they're going to swap soon or potentially lose the challenge. If you guys have been there for a day and we've seen almost zero strategic conversation from everybody else, any opportunity to build some sort of trust when you have almost nothing else to go off of is key, especially with the unknown moving forward.
Yeah. So we get to the immunity challenge. And I think at this point, I'm like, okay, there's no way that they're going to lose 3 in a row. Immunity challenges in a row. Because it's
close.
And it was close. But it also just felt like, and I don't know, like I'm fairly sure I was like stone cold sober for this, but like it felt like the challenge kind of just flew by time-wise. Like it didn't feel like it was dragging on or anything. It just kind of felt like, okay, beginning, end, let's get to, and I don't say it felt rushed, but it felt like, okay, no, let's get to the
meat and potatoes
of the episode, which is the final conference of our rivalry of the pre-merge, featuring Jabbar, because Jabbar's in the center.
Oh my god!
Of all of this, and he has a confession where, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I would like say and do too. I don't want to be involved in y'all's mess. I just want to see what y'all have to say about things, and that's what he did. And then it turned into this big thing that carries over into tribal. So, from your perspective, what happened?
What we see happen before during the scramble and kind of what's described during tribal are very different in the sense that when they sit down at tribal, obviously they have a back and forth, but Peter talks a lot about how he was having a conversation with Jabbar and Tyler came up, interrupted the conversation, was very aggressive in it. But then what we see during the scramble is Tyler and Peter having a conversation about the last vote, and then Peter just out of nowhere hollering at Jabbar and bringing him into the conversation then. Which I just don't know if we missed something, what happened, but I don't know what the point of bringing Jabbar into that conversation just to fight about Jabbar was, when like you're not getting anywhere convincing one person that they need to keep you. Like spending the entire scramble yelling at Jabbar and yelling at Tyler about the situation got nowhere.
No.
Like I said, it felt like I was watching elementary school kids.
Yeah. I won't go that far, but it did feel like, okay, this type of argument came out of nowhere. Like, for the most part, them going back and forth so far has been through other people or just like little digs and confessionals. And so having them confront each other here, and I felt like Tyler's being passive. Like I never felt like Tyler had gotten any type of aggressive. He pointed out something, and I feel like in a very civil manner. And I feel like there might have been some overreacting, but I can't judge how people feel in that situation because it is a high pressure situation.
It's tense.
On the line.
It's tense. It's been tense. It's not like this was new. This is something that had been building. And we knew at some point, whether it be this episode, 5, 10 down the line, it was going to come to a head.
Yeah. Everything else dealing with strategizing just it's really just us sitting there trying to figure out, okay, are these people actually going to get rid of Tyler, or are they going to get rid of the chaos, which in this situation would be Peter? I feel like losing two people already, like I said, I would say more collateral damage. At this point, do you just reset the game and just start anew and does it really matter, I guess, where they go in the situation? If you're everyone else, does it really matter where you go? Or is it like, okay, if we are still here and if this doesn't happen, we have to nip this in the bud, or we have to nip this in the bud. But it's going to be one of them have to go. If someone tries to flip the vote on any of us, we're doing the wrong thing here.
Yes, I think at this point, one of them has to go. We've seen the strong relationships already between Jordan, Jabbar, J-Mac, and Lydia have seemed to be working very strongly together. And it looks like Emily, mentioned earlier, but is generally well liked by the tribe. They voted out all of their quote unquote expendable people that they were fine voting out. You're down to your core and the problem. And at some point you gotta get rid of the problem before cannibalizing each other.
Yeah. And so we get to tribal, and it, like I said, it just kind of over into here. And I'm glad that there is a person in the middle of the two of them. I don't know exactly how they walk into tribal, but there is someone sitting there, and I'm not thankful because I thought like something crazy was going to happen.
They were in a fist fight.
Yeah, it's just more. Everyone are like, because of how everyone's seated, they already have to do like this, and I feel like they would have to like maybe knees touching, talking like this, arguing if it had kept on going. I believe it.
Ending argument.
Like I said, we're not there. We both played enough of these to know that these are high pressure situations. Could you at least kind of see where Peter was coming from? Do you feel like maybe Peter was playing it up? Do you feel like this was a genuine? Because I do feel like it was Peter being genuine here. But did you see where he was coming from with all of it?
Yes, definitely high stress situation. They've been there for a day. They're probably hungry. They probably didn't sleep a lot the night before. They can be high stress, anxious. You just had however long of an argument with Tyler. You know it's one of the two of you. I think Peter's emotions, how he was feeling, was genuine. Did he maybe get some of the details wrong? Absolutely. But I think he was speaking what like he interpreted as the truth and what had happened.
Did you think that there was any point during this that one, it could flip onto somebody else, or two, that it would end up on Tyler? Or did you feel like this was GG's for Peter like the entire time?
I felt like it was going to be Peter. I felt like there was more of an opportunity for it to get flipped onto Emily at the beginning than for it to end up being Tyler. I think people have stuck their neck out so much for him already, and no one's really stuck their neck out for Peter until Jordan a little bit this episode. But I think it would have been a complete 180 to just nix him now after putting in that work over getting rid of Peter.
Yeah. And we've talked about this through the first two episodes, and a lot of the stuff that Peter was doing was one, like clockable, like people caught on to it very fast. But two, he was doing just a lot early. And I think that more than anything else, it's that I feel like eventually got him, because I do feel like if he hadn't had that moment at the end of the first tribal, if he hadn't been, throwing votes here and there and doing all of this, it's like I feel like he's probably a very good. He could be a very good player. I know he mentions like, oh yeah, like it's like, yeah, but like just calm down a little bit and you probably will be fine. um, where's the blame come from? Who do we put the blame on here?
You cut out a little bit. Can you repeat the question,
Where do
please?
we put the blame on here? Who do we put the blame on here?
I think you have to blame Peter. Was it a little bit of unfortunate circumstances that he fell into Tyler's crosshairs? Yes, but I think you have to blame him for putting himself in the situation he did. It was my big point the first episode was the inconsistencies of what he was talking about and and how he wanted to play and how he was playing. And I feel like that was the same through these next two episodes as well. He was Agent of Chaos in the first episode, Agent of Chaos in the second. He gets here and he goes, I really I've been too much. I need to calm down. He says it like I need to chill. I've been on Tyler too much. Like maybe I have to pivot and do whatever. And then we get the argument and then we get the continuation of the argument. And then we get to Tribal and him saying, Tyler is aggressive towards me. If go on the offensive a bit. You've already dug yourself a hole this much. I just feel like at most turns, he didn't make the optimal decision.
So that's the end of Peter in this game. And I feel like similar to the first two boots that we had, a very fun and probably bigger character than the first two. A very fun pre-merge character that we get here. Someone that I would be very hesitant to play with. I would love to be on a cast, but I would never want to actually play with them in game because I don't do well with chaos. But no, Peter was such a great character, and
he seemed so great. He seemed very fun.
Yeah. So where do we go from here with this tribe? Are we praying for a swap here, or are we praying for something, or we just want to see what happens? We just want to see the wheels fall off in this.
No, I think we need a swap at this situation because I think they go to Tribal again. I very well see it being an easier Emily vote. Hope I'd be wrong. I'd want something interesting. But as well, I think it makes it hard to root for Capoe. We have not seen a lot from them. We've gotten some small moments. I think there's been two people in particular that have been highlighted consistently on that tribe over the last 3 episodes that I'm excited to track moving forward. But we don't know anything about their dynamics. We don't know strategic conversations, anything like that. So I want to change up and I want to see these forces of chaos, go at each other.
Yeah, I need more David and his genes.
I need more David and his genes.
I need just everyone over there, please. But as we start to wrap it up, I do want to kind of point out that we've got a long way to go, and we'll be laughing about this in 4 weeks when the entire game is shifted and everyone that we've been rocking with are all gone, or we've turned on people. But I have been enjoying watching the process.
Yes.
Like I said, the episodes are put together in a way that you understand. I would hope that we understand everything that's going on. I hope that anything that's missing is not something that's oh man, it does feel very cohesive, and I have looked forward to watching it. So yeah, we'll be back probably next Thursday, right? There's nothing happening next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. But thank you all for continuing to tune in, especially the people that played on the season. Make sure to follow Live Reality Games on all the social medias. I just got really hot all of a sudden. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.